Every morning you wake up, you are helping someone else get closer to their first million, while your own first million moves one day further away. That is not a career. That is a wealth transfer you agreed to without ever reading the contract. Consider the mechanics of your daily life. You give away the prime hours of your youth, your sharpest focus, your peak physical energy, your most creative cognitive bandwidth. In exchange, you are handed a predetermined, mathematically capped fraction of the value you generated. You are paid just enough to cover your rent, your subscription services, your lease payments, and your weekend distractions. Just enough to ensure that on Monday morning, at exactly 7 o'clock, you have no financial choice but to step back onto the treadmill. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Your first million is not a luxury goal. It is not about buying supercars, wearing gold watches, or flexing on social media. Your first million is escape velocity. Until you reach that threshold, you do not own your time. You are renting your existence from a system designed by men who studied power while your ancestors were taught obedience. In 1513, a disgraced Florentine diplomat named Niccolo Machiavelli sat in a small study on the outskirts of Florence. He wrote a handbook titled The Prince, a cold, unvarnished look at how political power is seized, consolidated, and maintained. What the modern education system never taught you is that the Medici family, who ruled Florence behind the scenes, did not maintain their dynasty through political titles alone. They did it by engineering a monetary web that turned an entire city into their financial engine. Today, we strip away 500 years of propaganda. We decode Machiavelli's 7 brutal wealth secrets, the exact structural laws required to break your unwritten contract, bypass the middle-class trap, and force your first million into reality. To defeat a trap, you must first understand how it was constructed. Most people navigate their financial life believing in a fairy tale. They believe that if they work hard, pay their taxes, save 10% of their income, and invest in broad market indices, the system will eventually reward them with retirement at age 65. Machiavelli would have laughed at this naivety. In Discourses on Livy, Machiavelli wrote that the populace is perpetually deceived by generalities. They see the surface of institutions, schools, corporations, banks, governments, and assume these institutions exist to serve them. They fail to look at the underlying architecture. The modern economic system was never engineered to make you wealthy. It was engineered to maintain liquidity for asset owners. Think about it. Why does the education system spend 12 years teaching you how to memorize answers, sit quietly in rows, ask for permission to speak, and execute repetitive tasks, but spends 0 hours teaching you how interest compounds, how taxes are structured, how capital leverage works, or how legal entities protect wealth? Because a nation of financially literate citizens who understand leverage and capital allocation cannot be managed as a compliant workforce. The system requires workers, not architects. It requires gears, not engineers. If you want to build your first million, you must stop operating as a gear. You must adopt the mind of the architect. And that transformation begins with secret number 1. Secret number 1, the law of invisible extraction. The middle class believes wealth is lost through bad luck, unexpected expenses, or poor personal discipline. The elite understand that wealth is systematically extracted through design. When Machiavelli analyzed the downfall of Italian city-states, he noted that princes who levied direct, obvious, and cruel taxes on their citizens were quickly overthrown. But princes who extracted value silently, through currency debasement, grain monopolies, and trade tariffs, reigned for decades without a single riot. In the modern era, this silent extraction operates through a three-headed monster: earned income, taxation, currency inflation, and consumer debt. Let us dismantle each head. First, earned income taxation. If you earn your income through a standard job or direct labor, you are placed in the highest tax bracket relative to your net worth. You are taxed before the money ever touches your bank account. You pay tax on every dollar you earn, every dollar you spend, every asset you buy, and every asset you sell. Meanwhile, a corporation or holding company earns income, spends money on investments, operations, and asset accumulation, and only pays taxes on what is left over. You are taxed on gross, they are taxed on net. Second, currency inflation. Central banks expand the money supply annually. When new currency is printed, it does not enter the economy evenly. It enters through major commercial banks, government contractors, and institutional asset buyers, who spend those new dollars at full purchasing power. By the time those dollars trickle down to your salary, prices have already adjusted upward. Inflation is nothing more than a hidden, unlegislated tax that transfers purchasing power from wage earners to hard asset holders. Third, consumer debt. To bridge the gap between stagnant wages and rising living costs, the system offers you debt. Credit cards, auto loans, personal lines of credit. Debt turns your future labor into someone else's yield. Machiavelli's rule for the extraction law is simple. You cannot accumulate your first million if your bucket has 3 structural holes in the bottom. To fix this, your very strategic move is not simply trying to work harder at your job. It is restructuring how you receive income. You must shift from receiving earned income as an individual to accumulating capital assets and business equity behind corporate structures. You must stop leaking energy to the extraction engine before you can build your fortress. Secret number 2, asymmetric information, the Medici Code. The naive belief taught in business schools is that markets operate on fair exchange. You offer a service, the market pays fair market value, and both parties benefit equally. This is a comforting lie. Extreme wealth is almost never built in perfectly fair, transparent markets. It is created in asymmetric markets, where one side possesses knowledge, access, or positioning that the other side does not even know exists. Look at history. How did the Medici family rise from obscure wool merchants to the financial rulers of Western Europe? They did not invent wool processing. They did not work 20 hours a day in a textile shop. They created the first private international courier network disguised as a banking enterprise. When a merchant in London wanted to transfer money to Venice, it took weeks by horseback. The Medici had private couriers who arrived days faster. They knew currency exchange rates, war declarations, crop failures, and papal elections before anyone else in Europe. They traded on asymmetric information. When Machiavelli wrote about warfare in The Art of War, he emphasized that a captain who enters battle knowing the exact terrain, weather, and troop morale of the enemy has already won before the first sword is drawn. Now, bring this concept into the modern world. How do you apply asymmetric information to build your first million if you enter a market where everyone has access to the exact same information? Like day trading standard stocks based on public news, or opening a generic drop shipping store using publicly available YouTube tutorials, you are competing in a red ocean. Your margins will be squeezed to zero. To build rapid capital, you must seek or create information asymmetry in 3 ways. First, specialized, high-friction skills. Skills that take 6 months of intense, obsessive focus to master, but which 99% of people are too lazy to learn. Advanced data analytics, niche prompt engineering, complex tax structuring, specialized copywriting, or off-market real estate sourcing. Second, network asymmetry. Position yourself inside closed communities where deals are brokered before they ever hit the public market. The best investments, key hires, and high-value client contracts are never advertised publicly. They pass quietly through private networks. Third, market arbitrage. Finding an asset, service, or product that is undervalued in one market and connecting it to a market where it commands a premium. Remember the Medici law. Where information is equal, profit is minimal. Where information is asymmetric, fortunes are made overnight. And secret number 3, the leverage imperative. In chapter 12 of The Prince, Machiavelli delivers a scathing critique of mercenary armies. He argued that princes who rely on mercenary soldiers are perpetually insecure, because mercenaries only fight for a modest daily wage. They have no personal stake in the long-term survival of the state, and their physical output is strictly limited. When you sell your raw labor hours for money, you are acting as a mercenary to your own existence. You are selling a finite resource, your time, for a fixed rate. Even if you earn $200 an hour as a doctor or lawyer, you are still bound by a harsh mathematical reality. There are only 24 hours in a day, and you cannot work while you sleep without collapsing your health. Raw labor does not scale. Leverage does. Leverage is the art of multiplying your input so that a single unit of effort yields 10, 100, or 10,000 units of output. To cross your first million quickly, you must master the 4 forms of non-linear leverage. Number 1. Capital leverage. Money working on your behalf. When you invest capital into income-generating assets, every dollar becomes an unyielding employee that works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, demanding no sleep, no health insurance, and no time off. Number 2. Labor leverage. Managing other people's efforts. Setting up systems where capable people execute specialized tasks under your direction, allowing you to capture the margin between their output value and their compensation. Number 3. Code leverage. Software, algorithms, and automated digital systems. Writing a script, building an app, or setting up automated sales pipelines that run continuously across the globe at zero marginal cost. Number 4. Media and content leverage. Videos, podcasts, newsletters, and written media. This media content was recorded once, but it can educate hundreds of thousands of minds simultaneously, day and night, indefinitely. Look at the wealthiest individuals of our era. None of them accrued their net worth by trading hours for dollars. They accumulated capital by owning leveraged assets that decoupled their income from their time. If your income stops the moment your hands stop moving, you are not building an empire. You are simply running a high-stress maintenance program on your own financial survival. Secret number 4. Strategic concealment. Look broke, build power. One of Machiavelli's most famous observations in The Prince is that everyone sees what you appear to be, but few experience what you really are. In modern consumer culture, the economic machinery relies on a psychological trap called Veblen signaling. The middle class is conditioned to spend their excess capital on luxury items, leased vehicles, designer clothes, overpriced electronics, in a desperate attempt to signal social status to people they do not even like. This is a double financial catastrophe. First, it drains the very capital that should be compounding toward your escape velocity. Second, it alerts the world to your financial presence before you have the structural strength to protect yourself. Machiavelli wrote extensively about the concept of virtù, the strategic ability to adapt one's behavior to circumstance, concealing true strength until the precise moment of execution. When you start generating significant income, your primal ego will scream at you to flex. It will urge you to buy the car, upgrade the apartment, post the lifestyle photos, and seek validation from the crowd. Resist this urge with ruthless coldness. Flaunting early wealth accomplishes 3 negative things. First, it attracts financial parasites, friends, acquaintances, and family members who suddenly feel entitled to your excess capital. Second, it alerts competitors to your business model, inviting rivalry into your niche before you have established a moat. Third, it triggers economic friction, lawsuits, tax audits, and predatory pricing from vendors who realize you have cash to burn. The true Machiavellian strategist moves like a ghost. They wear simple, high-quality clothes without logos. They drive ordinary, reliable vehicles. They maintain modest living quarters. While the world assumes they are doing okay, their capital is quietly compounding inside private holding accounts, land titles, and scalable equity structures. Let the weak spend their money to look rich. You will keep your money to become unassailable. Secret number 5. Capital sequestration. The unassailable fortress. Why do 90% of people who double their salary still end up living paycheck to paycheck? The answer lies in Parkinson's law of consumption, which states that expenditure rises to meet income. When an average person earns $50,000 a year, they spend $50,000. When they earn $100,000, they buy a nicer car, move into a more expensive apartment, dine at higher-end restaurants, and suddenly find themselves spending $100,000. They remain on the financial treadmill, only now the speed is set higher. Machiavelli understood human psychology deeply. He noted that men are quick to indulge in comfort the moment pressure is relieved, forgetting that winter always follows summer. To break this cycle and cross your first million, you must institute the law of capital sequestration. Sequestration means legal and physical isolation. The moment new revenue hits your operational accounts, it must not sit in your primary checking account, where your daily debit card is connected. If money sits in your personal view, your brain will subconsciously classify it as spendable income. Instead, you create a mechanical pipeline. Step 1. Primary revenue lands in your business or master account. Step 2. A fixed lean salary is paid to you personally, just enough to cover high-quality nutrition, stable housing, health, and basic operational efficiency. Step 3. Every single dollar above that baseline is immediately sequestered. It is transferred automatically into isolated investment accounts, asset acquisition vehicles, or cash reserve fortresses before you ever have the chance to touch it. Treat every sequestered dollar like a private soldier in your army. Your goal is not to execute your soldiers by spending them on temporary pleasures. Your goal is to send them out into the financial wilderness, to capture more soldiers and bring them back to the vault. Once you view money not as paper currency for buying toys, but as captive soldiers for acquiring territory, your entire relationship with capital shifts permanently. Secret number 6, the velocity protocol. Building your first million is not a linear journey. It is an exponential curve. Going from $0 to $100,000 is usually the hardest, most excruciating phase. It requires raw grit, intense sacrifice, and manual effort. But going from $100,000 to $1 million does not require 10 times more manual effort. It requires compounding velocity. Machiavelli analyzed the military conquests of Cesare Borgia in The Prince. Borgia did not win battles by fighting slow, drawn-out wars of attrition. He won by striking with overwhelming speed, capturing key fortresses, consolidating his gains immediately, and using the enemy's own captured resources to fund his next march. He maintained momentum. Most people ruin their compounding velocity because the moment they make their first $50,000 or $100,000 in liquid profit, they slow down. They take a victory lap. They go on an expensive multi-week vacation. They buy luxury items. They pull capital out of their growth engine right when the engine was gaining momentum. Under the velocity protocol, you do not pull capital out of a growing engine during its acceleration phase. You take 100% of your excess yields and feed them directly back into your high-leverage assets, reinvesting into better technology and automation systems that lower your customer acquisition cost, reinvesting into top-tier talent that takes operational weight off your shoulders, reinvesting into cash-flowing assets that generate non-correlated income streams. Do not starve your growth engine to feed your personal luxury. Until your non-active asset yields generate 3 times more cash flow than your ideal living costs, every dollar extracted for personal indulgence is an act of sabotage against your future empire. Secret number 7, sovereign control. We arrive at the final, most brutal truth of Machiavellian wealth strategy. You will never build a $1 million fortune playing by rules written by individuals who benefit from your subordination. If you are constantly asking the system for permission, asking your boss for a raise, waiting for a corporate promotion, relying on a single bank for approval, or trusting a single centralized platform for your entire livelihood, you are operating as a pawn on someone else's board. A pawn can move forward 1 square at a time, but its path is always blocked by larger pieces. Sovereignty means moving from the board to the architect's chair. It means shifting your primary core question from, how do I earn a higher hourly rate or salary, to, what scalable system, media channel, software tool, or corporate asset can I construct that produces cash flow independently of my physical presence? Sovereignty requires 3 structural safeguards. First, platform independence. Never build your entire financial life on a single platform, employer, or client. If one entity can flip a switch and erase 50% of your revenue, You are not a business owner. You are a vulnerable contractor. Second, entity isolation. Structure your assets behind separate legal entities, holding companies, operating LLCs and private trusts, so that a legal or financial threat to one component cannot collapse the entire structure. Third, geographical and monetary flexibility. Maintain accounts, currencies, and revenue streams across multiple jurisdictions. True sovereignty means no single government policy, local recession, or banking restriction can freeze your life. Once you control the architecture of your income, reaching your first million becomes a mathematical certainty. Let us summarize the strategic board. Every single day you wake up, you are handed a choice. You can continue signing the unwritten contract. You can remain a compliant gear in an extraction machine designed to keep you stressed, distracted, and dependent. Or you can take the Machiavellian path. You can plug the leaks of invisible extraction. You can exploit asymmetric information. You can build non-linear leverage. You can practice strategic concealment. You can sequester your capital into an untouchable fortress. You can accelerate compounding velocity. And you can seize sovereign control over your destiny. Your first million is not a pipe dream. It is not reserved for the lucky, the famous, or the genetically gifted. It is an engineering problem, and now you have the blueprint. If you are ready to stop operating as a gear in someone else's machine, subscribe to this channel right now and watch the next video appearing on your screen immediately, where we decode the exact dark psychological tactics used by institutional elites to control market leverage. The game is fixed. Learn how to play it or remain its victim.